Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday morning to you. I hope that your day is going well. My day is going wonderfully. So today's video, I am sharing excerpts from my book, Large Family Mothering. Wrote this many, many years ago when I had a lot of little ones at home. And so I feel like I've gone through, I've grown, I've learned a whole lot of new tips since I wrote that book. And so that is what my focus is going to be on Thursday. So today is all about saving money on utilities. And as we know, with energy cost and the cost of living and everything else on the rise, it's important to look practical at ways to help reduce the cost that we're having in our homes, but not sacrificing, keeping our homes comfortable and inviting for people to come into. So throughout today's video, I'll give you a lot of tips that I have done over the years and some that I've discovered that are new that you can do in your home, and always provide you free templates to track your progress, to give you different tips. Love the free things, don't you? So link below, I'm gonna have a ton of free resources, and as well as an excerpt from this book. I will give you this chapter that I wrote many years ago as well, so you can read it and just kind of see where it was at and where I was at with a lot of little ones, because sometimes it gives tips. Like right now I forget a lot of things, that like maybe having little ones in diapers or little ones at home, maybe things that I'm not as reminding myself about because I have a lot of older ones. So that is all going to be linked below for you. Just go get them for free. So grab your cup of coffee or tea and let's go through and find some ways in our homes that we can be energy efficient. It might be ways that you never even thought about. So you ready? All right, let's go. One of the first ways to know how to save some energy in your home is to find out where it goes, how it's calculated in your home. So I think that most homes nowadays, I could be wrong, they have installed smart meters. I know when we lived in the mountains, I remember, I don't know, the last few years we lived there, the electric company called and they said they want to install a smart meter so they didn't have to come up to the house to check the meter reading. And then each month they would send us an email and it kind of would showcase everything that we've used in the home and the energy it produced. So I know our home here in Florida has the same thing. It's outside, it's right next to my neighbors, so I didn't want to go outside and bring the camera. But a smart meter. Energy companies, I have to assume most of them all do that now. So if you don't, maybe that's something you can inquire with your company, because it cuts down on them having to come out and read your meter. Remember the meter readers? Remember the meter readers? They come out and you wonder why the guy was next to your house, because he's reading the numbers on your meter. But now they have it where it's just digitalized and it goes right to the company, and then they can kind of see where your energy consumption is at. And most energy companies offer an online dashboard. I know I can go onto mine and I can kind of see where most of our energy is used in the home. Like it'll break it down as too much as large appliances like freezers and refrigerators, and little things like plugs, equipment, and just like small appliances in the home that can help you figure out, okay, where is most of my energy going in my home? And that's a beautiful thing. And that's just a good thing to be able to know where most of your energy is going to. And sometimes energy companies will come out and do a free home assessment and a home energy audit to kind of let you know where there are areas in your home that is maybe producing too much, or maybe some things you can do to cut down. I remember back in the day signing up and having them come out, and they did one where they came in your house and they shut all they had like a big giant thing over your door, and then they kind of blew something. It was like some kind of big fan. It was a long time ago. And then that way they were able to tell me where we were losing the most energy, the most air, things like that in our home, checked our attic, all those good things, just to give me some tips as to like, hey, you can do this to help cut down on this, or you can do this to save money on this. So check into your company. They might have a free program. I don't know if they still do nowadays. I remember doing that in Michigan, and I was like, that was really helpful because it gave me a lot of tips as to like what I could do for my home. Now, heating and cooling are often accounted for the significant portion of your bills, correct? Keeping your house hot, keeping it cool. That's like the majority of where the energy goes. So optimizing these systems can lead you to substantial savings. And one way you can do that is by installing a programmable thermostat. Now this is just an old school one. I think these are like $20, $30 at Lowe's, but they do have the fancy smart ones. I know Jaden got that for her apartment, and I was like, wow, that's really fancy. Program it through your phone and that. But what's nice about it is you can set it at the right temperature that you want your home. But mine also goes through, and I can change it for like when we wake up in the morning. Like I can set it for any time. Like when we wake up in the morning to when like we went away to work. maybe when we come home, maybe when we go to bed. You can just set it for the days of the week. And that is huge because it can, like, we don't need to have it as cold if we're not gonna be here all day. You know, if you're gonna be at work, you can have your temperature down a little bit, like if it's summertime. So programmable thermostat, learn how to use it. I know it's one of those things that you have to do. And I still remember the mountains, I did ours and I was like, there's a little piece of paper. There's a little paper right in here. Usually if they kept it, there's a little piece of paper right here that has the instructions. Hopefully yours didn't. If not, Google it. But it just, I would go through that thing and set and go through and I'm like, but just get it done. It's like the remote control for the TV. Just program it and you have it set. You'll save yourself a whole lot because you won't have to constantly go over here and change the temperature. It's just automatically gonna change and adjust based on what your day is like. Another place that you can help save from energy going in and out of your house is by applying weather stripping to your doors. They have all kinds at the store. You can get just the foamy kind. Remember the foamy kind? It's like black foam. Or you can get this one. This is more like a weather strip. And it's a little bit thicker, a little bit nicer. It's not going to tear as easy. Install it. They have them fit for door frames. You can literally install it all around your door frames. Now you can also do, I think this is called a door sweep. It's underneath here. And it slides right on the bottom of your door. And it has, I think this has 4 little like ledges inside of it, and that helps a lot of air from coming into your home as well. But do the weather stripping all the way around your door. That saves a whole lot. And that's the same as caulking around windows or seeing if there's any kind of gaps or anything in your home where there's air coming in. Get some of that spray foam. You can also spray around, I know outside, like around our vent that comes into the home for it, our stove. We put a little bit of the spray foam, you just spray and it just gets hard, and then that way it prevents critters from coming in for one, but also a lot of energy from escaping. And another one that's very helpful is in your attic, getting it filled with insulation. I know it's one of those things where like it's an investment to do, but it is definitely a huge money saver in the home. In our old home in the mountains, they had it installed I don't even know how many feet it is up there, but that helps a lot of the energy from escaping from the home. But having a well-insulated attic is very, very important too, is for helping your home stay either cool or hot, depending on what it needs to do. So that's another thing to look into. Those are one of those things that are a little bit more of an investment and have to do it, but it is an option just for things to check. Another way to save money in your home is running full dishwasher loads. See that? Make sure it is full. Not too full though, so it doesn't run properly. But full so that it can do its task without wasting any water in your dishwasher. I always think like hand washing them sometimes is a better route, less water used, but I know time is a factor, so using dishwasher is helpful as well. All right, laundry. Now it used to be back in the day when you did your laundry, you didn't have these fancier machines. You had the drum washer, which I think some people would appreciate those much more than having the energy efficient ones. I guess it just depends on your preference and what you have. So I do remember thinking always do full loads because you didn't want to waste the water because you already were going to fill it up all the way. So make sure that you use all of that water, so none to waste. But now these are made so that they sense how much clothing is in it. I still remember back in the day, I would tell the kids, I'd be like, people would say, don't your kids do their own laundry? And I'd say no, because they don't have enough for a full load. And the fact that like I have to be efficient, and even though it doesn't seem like it's just pennies you're saving, but over time it saved me a whole lot of money. So I would make sure that we did all of our laundry together, so that way nothing was wasted. So nowadays my kids can do their own laundry because they can do small loads, big loads, it doesn't matter. They can wash one thing, it doesn't even matter, because these are efficient to be able to sense like how much is in there, how much water to add. So it's got its positives and negatives. I know a lot of people don't love it because they don't feel like it washes that much. And then drying, same thing. So if you have a clothesline, drying things outside is definitely an option. I know in Michigan, we dried everything outside. Everything except a few like socks and underwear we try to do in the dryer. But our jeans, our shirts, our dresses, our towels, our diapers, everything was outside. Good times. My kid, there was times that we didn't even go, we have a dryer because I knew it was going to cost money. And so I'm like, well, that's just one less expense, and it just takes me a little bit of time to do it, so I can do that. So we did that. Then we moved to the mountains of North Carolina, and then I discovered how muggy and wet it was in the rainforest area we lived. So we had a clothesline hooked up front. I'd have our laundry all strung out on there. It would sit out there for days and days drying because it was so wet. So I realized that's not going to work very much. So then when we bought our house there, I would put like certain times of the winter things dried really well. So I would take and hang up things like on the hooks that we had at our porch, or sometimes sheets, blankets I'd hang over the railing, sometimes towels as well too. So did that. Now here in Florida, I know they have HOA rules, and setting up clothesline is not good, but I understand there's rules that you can get around that. So for me, hanging everything outside is not as practical as it used to be, but I do like to take out and put like the bigger things, like our rugs. I'll put like I have a rug in there right now, so that will go outside over a chair to dry. Sometimes I take our blankets and put them out there to do, but I also have to be careful of bugs and all those things, and then also have to be worried about pollen. So I know those aren't always as practical, it just depends on where you're at in your situation. Drying racks, you can get a drying rack for your laundry room. We had one of those when I didn't have a dryer. My girlfriend gave me, we bought like the cheapy one at like Walmart, but then she gave me like an Amish one. It was all wooden dowels, like big ones, and it was huge, and it held so much laundry. And then we would just hang up with hangers all of our clothes, and that worked amazing. So whatever you can do in your home, you can do. Everything's on the floor today. Maxine's loving it because she's like right here next to me and just follow me along. She's like, Mommy, just keep petting me. So another way you can save money is by not using your large appliances to heat up your food, especially if you're doing a smaller thing. So this, again, only works in certain size families, certain size homes. Like for us, it's more efficient for me to heat up in the oven certain things and cook things over there. But for reheating things, it's not always practical just to heat up in the oven for one person. So microwaves come in handy, toaster ovens come in handy. Air fryers come in handy. I always tell people, like I know a lot of people, if their their oven breaks or their stove breaks, it's like, okay, what are they gonna do? So they have all those hot pots now you can cook on, which is just a tabletop thing that plugs in, uses less energy. Air fryer, genius, you can use that. We use that a lot in the summer here in Florida because it just gets so hot in here, and then turn the oven on. I'm like, I don't want to have my air running 24/7 to try to cool the house, so I'll just use the little air fryer, and that just works better that way as well. So whatever, or cook outside, just put my mom would always put her crock pot outside, or she'd do the roaster oven. She put a lot of that outside just to cut down on the heat in the house, and I'm like, that's a really smart idea. So those are all ways you can do cutting down when you're reheating food to help save some money. Okay, another way to save money is by installing LED lights in your home. Now, I think almost everywhere is LED lights, but I could be wrong. I still remember, it's been a little while, but I remember going to the store with my dad, and he's like, I just want the old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs. And so it just depends on your home. When I wrote my book, I kind of remember beforehand my girlfriend telling me that she was investing in these LED light bulbs, and she's like, they're great, they're wonderful, they're efficient. She's like, but they were like $25 a light bulb. And I was like, $25? That would cost me so much money in our home to keep the lights on. And so, but now, they're much more affordable. So installing LED lights, changing out all your lights with just, the energy efficient ones, huge. Like I still remember, I feel like that was a part of our budget, was buying light bulbs, the old before LED. And we'd have to install those all the time. They just did not last. But the LED, very rare do we have to change the light bulbs. So I think I buy a box and it lasts me for years that I never have to worry about changing anything. So LED lights and all your light fixtures. Another way that you can save money is by installing blinds in your home to maximize the amount of time that you have to have your lights on in your home. So for myself, when I film, I turn on my lights so that you can see, but if I'm not filming, because when I open this up, it's gonna be so bright for you, and it's just like a whole lot, it's just like a big blur. So when I'm not filming and it's nice out, I don't need to cool the house, I will keep my blinds wide open because I let that natural sunlight in to light the house, and that's a wonderful thing. But when it's really bright and sunny and I'm trying to cool my house, we keep our blinds shut to save on energy as well. So it depends on where you're at, your climate and everything else. I know when we lived in the mountains, we didn't even have to have blinds in our windows because the way the trees were around a house, it just kept it very shaded. So I don't even have to worry about having blinds installed to keep like out any kind of, lights that produces, because it definitely, like having this open brings in a lot of heat into the home, and definitely during the summer. So we like ours are, if you have a climate where it's very extreme, like here in Florida, in your blinds, we get the kind that's got the little mylar in between, so that it's a blackout blind as well, but it also includes like to cut down on the rays and cut down on the heat and the energy coming into your home. So huge saver for us in our home as well. So get some curtains, some blinds, keeping it shut, and then keep them shut during the day to keep out that cold or the sunshine, whatever you need to do in your home. Another way to save in your home is to cut down on vampire energy. Now this is something I falter with because to me it's a lot more of a task to unplug everything, but it is a way to save in your home. So unplugging things and appliances that you don't need to have plugged in all the time when you're not using them. That's a great way. Or install an energy efficient power strip. That will save as well, because it does cost to have these plugged in all the time. These are charged, but I still keep them plugged in 24/7. Same thing with my phone, same thing with the TV, same thing with the appliances. They're constantly plugged in even though they're not being used, but it does drain a little bit on your electric bill. So again, you have to pick and choose what is good for your home and what is going to be efficient and best for you to do. Your water consumption. Water consumption is huge in your home. I know we had a mountain house that had a well. I didn't have to worry about water consumption in the amount we used, but then we moved to Florida and now we pay for our water. We paid for it there in other ways, but just not paid for using it. So for your water consumption, you can make sure that your water heater is set. You can set your thermostat at 120 degrees, and that gives you plenty of warm water without sacrificing any comfort. That's just huge. Just turning it down and leaving it there helps save. Another thing you can do to save on water consumption is by installing low flow shower heads. I know sometimes people are like, it cuts down on the flow in your shower. It just depends on where you're at. I know here there is so many people moving in, and I've noticed that people are posting online that, have you noticed a decrease in your water pressure? And I'm like, yes, I've noticed a decrease in my water pressure. And so again, you have to pick and choose your battles and things, but you can get a smart little, it's cheap. It's $5, $6 at Walmart, I know, to install on your shower head, and it will just cut down on the amount of water coming down, where it still covers your body, still covers your thing, you know, when you're taking a shower, but it'll cut down the amount of water that you use in your home. Another way to save money is involve your family. I am constantly telling my children, shut the lights off when you leave a room, shut them off. And they're like, does it really matter? Like, we would leave the house and their lights would be on, and I'm like, shut your lights off there. I'm like, nobody's here to even light their house. And they're like, it's just a few cents. I said, yes, but that few cents adds up over time. And so I remember watching some kind of, I think it was a sermon one time, and the pastor, it was obviously a big church, and they said they were very intentional about going around and shutting all the lights off in any office that wasn't used, or when they leave a room, no matter if they left for 2 minutes or a minute or 5 minutes or 20 minutes, and shut their lights off in their office, and then when they come back, turn it on. And their bill, they saved like over $5,000 the next month by just shutting off your lights. So having your lights shut off. So pay attention to your lights being on, the ones being on outside. It helps to have everything on a timer. That's very helpful. In the mountains, we use timers for our outside. We had all the hanging lights that we used to light up our different areas outside. So when we did that, I installed a timer. So that way when the timer would go on, only stand for a certain amount of time, but it was enough for if we were out, we came home, they were on, and then when we got, before we went to bed, they would shut off. And so that was a good way to save on electricity as well. So these were just very small amount of points that you can do to help cut down on energy. I've included a ton of free resources below that go way more in depth, and maybe something simple like, I remember taking an energy audit class in our county when I was first married, and one of it, they just talked about, like, when you cooked, this is something that stood out to me, when you cook noodles, like boil water in the stove, put the lid on. And they said, what's happening? All that water is going out. And I didn't even think, and all the energy is going out. And as being a young person, I didn't even think, yeah, that does go out. But then I see my kids going to boil water, and then like their lids are off. And I said, if you put the lid on, it's gonna conserve that a little bit better and help with that. So little things, and sometimes I just boil without it on too, but just little things to help cut down on your energy use. So I was always on the lookout for ways to cut down on the amount of electricity and the amount of gas that we were using in our home, just to save, so that I could have a little bit of extra money for different things, because when you have a large family, a lot of expenses go to food and water. So to have all those extra things to be able to reduce down is very helpful. So linked below, I'm going to give you a bunch of free resources, 101 ways to save on energy. And it goes through things like washing your clothes in cold water. We still do that to this day. And other tips like using rechargeable batteries instead of disposable. And also something that I do is skip the heated cycle in your dishwasher. That's the first thing I shut off when I put my load of dishes in, is I click off the heat cycle to not have to pay for that little thing that's going to cost a few cents, but we run that dishwasher every single day, so that saves in my home. So that's just one free resource. Then you're also going to get 101 ways to save water in your home, and that's something simple like shutting the water off when you brush your teeth. How many times do you leave the sink on? Water is just draining out while you're brushing your teeth. I am guilty of that. Another area is installing aerators on your sink faucets. We have done that. We did that in the mountains for all of our sinks to save on the water that we used. I remember moving into our home home in the mountains and we had a large family, and our septic guy came out and he was so informative, and he explained to me how much our septic could hold so it wouldn't like overflow and use too much. And so he went through and I would tell him all the things we were using, and he was explaining, he said a good way to do is install a water smart meter on your well, which was very helpful, and because that way I can kind of gauge how much we were using. And so he would explain, okay, this is how much your washer would use, this is how much your toilets are going to use, this is how much your shower is going to use. So he right away recommended getting the energy efficient, the washing machine. So that was something we purchased. And then the toilets, he said, make sure you upgrade your toilets because those are going to use a lot of water. And so we installed those as well. And then the shower heads and the sink aerators. So everything we could do to cut down on the amount of water we used and what he recommended, we did. And then that saved. And we never had, I think one time we had to have the septic guy come out for our septic, but after that, and that was the first time we did it, we never had any issues with our septic. So good tips to save on water. I'm also going to include an energy saving tracker template, so you can go through, download it, and fill it in and see if you can save yourself some energy this year. And then I'm also going to include a paper that includes like the estimated amount of energy that appliances use. So you can kind of see, okay, look at how my refrigerator, how much is using, look at how much a toaster oven is using. So you can kind of gauge where you can cut down and save some energy. And then also going to include tips for running appliances efficiently. Like your ceiling fans, you rotate them counterclockwise in the summer and clockwise in the winter. That will save you on energy consumption. And then as always, I'm going to give you the excerpt from my book. It's chapter 7. It's saving money on utilities. By the end of this series, you're going to have the entire book for free. So thank you for joining me today. So make sure you look below in the description box. I'm going to include all of those free resources. Go over to my blog and just download them for free. Just read through them. You might think, no big deal. Go get them. They're free. Read through them and see if there's anything that maybe you'll read and go, oh, that's something I can do, or oh, that's something I can do. All little tips that's going to help you save energy, which in turn is going to save you some money. We all want to save some money, don't we? So that's a beautiful thing. So let's continue on this journey together, encouraging and supporting. And maybe you have some tips on saving that I have not spoken about, or maybe I don't have anything on the papers. Love lots of ideas. So put those in the comment section below, because you can probably save someone out there would love the practical hands-on tips. So you have a fantastic rest of your day. Come back tomorrow. We got another video. All right, we'll see ya. Bye.